Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett here. It's 8:18 in the morning, March 28th. We are almost done with March, everybody, and it is a Friday, so that is awesome. Um, I'm probably not going to get to do a episode tomorrow because we are. I want there's this Parthenon thing that got built, I don't know, in the early 1900s, and in Tennessee it's like 4 hours away. So we're gonna go check that out. That should be fun. Um, but definitely looking forward to that. But I won't be able to do any coding, I don't think. And it's good every couple of years to take a day off from coding. I probably literally miss coding where I don't code at all, maybe once every 6 months, probably. I probably code 7 days a week, all that. And, I probably get to code for work, as a professional software developer, I probably get to actually just sit down focused coding about 10 hours a week. And then I probably do another 10 or 20 hours a week of just this sort of fun sort of coding. Um, and I think that's good because like, if you have too many bad experiences doing the same thing over and over again, like, so if you're stressed out at work and you code 40 hours a week and then you do that for a year and you never code in a fun way, an enjoyable way for a whole year, you'll probably absolutely hate coding at the end of the year because, like, all that will be associated with that is just being miserable. So coding for fun and finding a way to enjoy it on your own time probably will help you last a lot longer as a software developer. So yesterday I got the these visualizations to lay out and calculate. Now the problem is we really do would I would rather have two rows, not one row that goes all the way out to here, right? And so then if I had 14 of these things, I'd want, four rows. I want it to do that. So we do have a concept of rows here, but um, we don't, um, we aren't using it. So how would we know? Well, so how do you know? How do you? And oh, so I was been thinking because I don't know why when you get sick you sort of start like I was sick in such a way that I was felt fine while I didn't move while I was sitting there and doing nothing. So it gave me a lot of time to contemplate. And it's like you do have to reevaluate why you do things on a regular basis. And why do I do these videos? I was trying to think, okay, why do I even do these videos? Because I watch a lot of videos. So I don't watch anyone who does a video like what I do. Um, and the reason I started doing these videos is because I read this book called The Alchemist. And when you read there definitely used to be a thing called alchemy that did something. And whatever it was pretty damn impressive because we still have a lot of things around that were done at the same time that alchemy was a thing. So clearly they understood how to do things that we probably don't understand how to do today. Um, and it's sort of a lost art. Well, the thing is computer programming is much like that in that, and I think what happens is you have a discipline, and that discipline sort of sort of evolves organically, right? So people need to write programs for computers, blah 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 blah, and it evolves, and then sort of a second life sort of appears, and the second life is what people perceive the people who do the thing is. So there was alchemy, and they were doing things that apparently was good stuff because there's still like a lot of art and things around, buildings and stuff around from when alchemy was a thing. But today we have alchemy, and we're like, oh, alchemy is when you try to turn lead to gold or whatever. And I suspect what happened is alchemists were doing a thing, they kept doing their thing. Academia decided, oh, we want to teach alchemy. Then they made up a bunch of weird fictions about it, and they started teaching it, but they were teaching people completely wrong. And then alchemists were like, hey, I don't care. I just want to do alchemy. And what they do and how they do it is completely lost because whatever it is they were doing and what we think of alchemy now cannot possibly have anything. And so they made this person Pablo something, I believe, made this beautiful book that called The Alchemist, and it is such a great book. Um, and when you read it, it just like really is just mind opening. But one of the things that I realized was like we have no idea what alchemists do, and we could very well be there with programming. I'm a programmer. I've been a computer programmer since the beginning of programming. I've made a living doing it. I've been around thousands, even tens of thousands of computer programmers from all around the world, from like people who graduated from MIT with their undergraduate and Georgia Tech with their doctorate's degree, who built artificial intelligence brains out of pallets, from people like that to people who literally never graduated college and just happened to be really really good at HTML. Just like all kinds of people, all kinds of disciplines, and so this is how computer programming is done. Um, Whatever, if you've imagined computer programming to be something completely different, there may be a way to make that happen. I'm not saying that that isn't possible, but if most computer programmers that I know today get very very disappointed when they find out just how much work and what it really is, and then they tend it's and very very few college professors ever pro, program professionally at all. And if they did program professionally, typically they only did it for a couple years, um, and or they did it just like in one sort of thing. They didn't have to keep changing and adapting. But anyway, so this is computer programming. That's what I'm doing, and so in the future, if people have completely lost the art of computer programming, hopefully these videos will be available for people to watch and see what an actual computer programmer actually does. Now, I will say that I really, really focus on being able to convert all of these things to words. A true computer programmer does not have to do that translation into their tongue, whatever language they speak in. You can just go straight into software coding mindset and not do any of that stuff. This isn't 100% accurate from that perspective. But anyway, so I need to start using my row, and I need to figure out when to increment my row. And I think that we know. Okay, so here I believe is where I'd want to do that. So I'm just going to do console.log check row for row question mark a row. Let's see, inspect. And that's like the other thing I think that most people don't realize about. So here's where we check the row. Most people don't realize that like sometimes you know what you're going to do when you're a computer programmer, and sometimes you don't know what you're going to do. And so you have to kind of switch from sort of like, oh, okay, I'm completely in line getting stuff done, to, ooh, I'm trying to figure out how to do things. You have to be able to switch seamlessly between those two modes, which, is a lot more work, and it makes it very difficult for someone to come up and talk to you while you're in the zone coding, because like, which mode are you in when they decide to interrupt you? Sometimes you're in, hey, I know exactly what to do, and I'm driving down the path, to, oh, I'm carefully analyzing and try to think through the different paths. And you're probably going to be a different person every time depending on when, at what stage you're in while you're being interrupted. But being interrupted is just part of the job, especially if you're working uh, in a especially if you're working like in a place where the people can actually walk up to you. But anyways, we need to know, what do we need to know? I think we need to know the width of the port, which I believe we have this. So let's see. Width, and let's see. I think this one is probably not helpful. It may be at some point, but all right. So it's kind of nice. So the port width has been set in all cases, which yeah. So 894. Yeah, I think that is right. I'm not sure if the viewport includes what's out here or if it doesn't include what's out there. I'm not sure. Um, no, it must not because 894. This is 800. So basically now, so that's good. So now we want to say if the viewport width. Okay, let's make a variable name. It's not skip. Okay, so const next width. Okay, we could just do this. Okay, I understand that we could just use this, but I do want to previous width plus. Okay, so is it this one? So this would work, but I think it's a bug. It would be a bug if the things are changed because it's the next width is going to be the next width, right? So let's just do this. Move that up here because I'm going to want to do this. And it's not previous left. Not previous width. Next left is equal to the current left. And we're going to want to add that to the next width, right? So it's how wide is the next one, which next width doesn't exist yet. So I'm just going to set that equal to 0. But in order to get the next width, we are going to need to know what the index was. So, and we also will have to deal with the fact that there's not always going to be a next width. So we want to get a reference to the next viz. Okay, so one thing we do know is, and so let's make this a let. All right, so I know we know, I know you know. Index. Is that index? Yeah. Index comes from right here. So when I do the loop, I do pass in the index. Or I do create a reference to the passed in argument of index. Okay. So there's one situation where we do not want to do this calculation, and that's if there isn't one in the next. If there is, like if we're to the last one already. Yeah, so 6, 5. So if the index is equal to the length minus 1. Then we'll know we're on the last one. Right, so there's probably a much more clever way to do this. Index is equal to, and I believe we also, the third, we can get a third thing, which is the actual array itself. I believe that that's the third one. And really, honestly, I don't know. We don't really need to. We do have a, since this is a fat arrow or the arrow thing, we actually do have a. Okay, so that isn't right, anyways. I don't know. Oh, wait. There we go. So it was complaining that I didn't say that this was an array. So this is the original array. Let's rig. So, and they point to the exact same stuff. So if you mess with one of them, you mess with all of them. So original vid list. And we're just going to say original dot length. I don't know why that. Don't know what it is doing that. Why is it? Oh, I have an extra equals. That caused the whole thing to freak out. Length. So basically, if, and we want to do this if, so calc. Next with is equal to original is lift, and then the index, so that's the one, the next one, plus 1, so the next index dot st width. Okay, so it's going to be 0 if there isn't a next one, but if there is a next one, then it is that. And then, so our next left is that. Okay, so now all we've done is calculate what the next width should be. Or next left should be. Next left, right? So now we know. Hopefully, we'll know exactly what the next left, next width would be. Undefined. That's kind of a bummer. So the complaint is on what line? Line 101? Line 95. So it's saying that this. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that, hit reload, and see what happens. So our index is 0, our length is 1. Oh yeah, so the index of the last one is the length minus 1. Silly rabbit. Woohoo! Before all the array sort of things, the goodness that comes. Like there didn't used to be like even array dot push or anything like that. Like anything like that, you had to really be familiar with these positions, the way they relate with each other. All right, so that is no longer broken, and so see how it's 1200, but we don't want, once this thing gets above 800, we want it to be, so that's this guy. Oh, I was hoping it would when I moused over. So once we get to this guy, when we see that the next one is going to be 1000, we should set the column to 0 and the left to 0. So we're going to say next width is greater, or next left. Oh, so we're doing in the wrong spot. I've been having a problem with order of operations all day, ever since I woke up this morning. All right, so next left is equal to, oh, if next left is greater than this dot, oh my gosh, greater than viewport width, then, so we want the current left, yeah, so we want to reset the current left, right? Is equal to 0. Current top needs to be set, and we're just going to, let's see, oh, last top, okay. So I decided to name that last top. I don't know if that's the right one, and it's going to be, we're just going to assume that they're all the same height. I think I should actually hard code it, if I'm being honest, just because if I hard code it, I have a better chance of coming back and not forgetting to fix this one. Is equal to last top plus 200. And let's see. Oh, okay, so here all I do is do calculations. So I just want to see, um, let's see, ST. Okay, so the whatever, yeah, last top might end up not being, but for now I think viz dot st top is equal to the last top. Okay, that's a bad name. That's a really bad name. So I think last top should be renamed to current top. And now what I want to see is when we get this, that our top, so our top is kind of a bummer because it, oh, so I didn't redo that, but um, top then went and re-added itself, and that was because st leg. Okay, so the width, if we go too far, that width, that left needs to go to 0. Okay, so this left needs to go to 0. There's got to be a way to do this in a way that's way a little bit. It's a lot more like not confusing. Okay, so and right now I sort of like I don't know. I have one that is yeah, it's weird. Let's see. So you see our top goes 200 to, then for some reason it starts adding, even though my st left went back down to 0. So instead of 800, so it went, I think no, we probably don't want the 800. That's right, we want the 600, and then the 800 one would get cut off, and it set the left to 0, which is exactly what we want. Set the top to 0, which is not what we want. Let's see. Current top is equal to current top plus 100 plus 200. So it's like, okay, so the problem is that the next left, for some reason, is still greater than the viewport width. And next left is the current left, which we reset. Oh, with that it gets, wait, that always gets, left, current left. Okay, so anyways, I'm super duper confused. Let's see, what time is it? 8:46. Um, so what we need to figure out next is, see, that's good, right? So 0, 1, 2, 4, and then 0. That's good, but the top should have gone up to 200 for this one, and then this should have been 200, and the top should have been 200, but for some reason it's sort of reversing, and then the top ended up getting added again, but that was because the left is still being miscalculated, or the width is still being miscalculated, right? So see the width, this is the width, right? So
Right.
oh, this is the next left. The next left was greater than that.
Wow. That's interesting. What probably said.
So next left, we know that next left should be reset to 0 at this point. Which doesn't even matter, right? Because it's literally only a round. Okay, so this ST left thing is working right, I believe. So it's, the problem is when I calculate the width. Or when I calculate the left. Okay, so current left is equal to the previous left plus the previous. So that's the current left. And then I assign it, which may be, no, which is fine because I reassign it later. And then the top ends up being current top,
Right.
which current top was was calculated previously in the current iterate in the previous iteration. So previous left is equal to current left. Okay, that doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, it does, because that is the old left. Previous width is equal to the current thing's width. So that's already wrong. The previous width should not have been. I mean, it only works out because it only works out because they're all the same now, but they won't always be the same. So then I say the next width is equal to 0.
Anybody? Back out. Go.
No, actually, I think this is right now that no, it's the previous width that is the one that should be calculated in there. So I'm mixing times, right? Like I'm doing some things that I should be doing on the next iteration. In this iteration, I'm doing some things that like I've gotten completely out of mental sync on these loops. And I've never I think I do that all the time. And I've never observed that in myself before. So that is pretty awesome. I don't know. I definitely need to think about this. Think what I've done here because I think I think I need to take another run at this and try to do it in such a way that this stuff all makes sense because, like I said, I'm getting mixed up. Sometimes I'm executing things that I should be executing on the next, like I should be getting information from the next iteration so that I can figure out what's going on this iteration. And then sometimes I'm getting information that I guess was based on the last iteration and then sometimes I'm getting stuff based on this iteration. So like if I'm trying to figure out what the left spot is going to be, where to place this thing, like the way I'm figuring that out is saying what the next spot would be based on the previous value's end spot plus its width, or start spot plus its width. And that's how I know my current possible spot. But I don't want it to be the spot if that plus its width is going to push it off the page. And this code here does not express that in any way, shape, or form. This code is a mess. So I'm kind of glad because I think, this is sort of a new and exciting and novel sort of issue for me that I've probably been dealing with for my entire career. And now I'm like, oh, when I do looping, I don't really keep a good straight. I don't have any way of identifying data, good way of or effective way of identifying state, the data of the thing of the item in the list because um, in some cases, let me write this down. Yeah, this is just for me to remember. On Sunday, in some cases, we need info from the previous data. Viz record object. In some cases, we need info from the next viz object. And in some cases, we need info from the times that clearly indicate which assigned. Because there's the previous potential previous left, there's the next actual left, there's the previous, there's all kinds of stuff, and I just need to think through that. I never have before. Anyways, everybody, happy coding. Bye.